Okay, good afternoon everyone. So maybe as normal TED mod, we can start with a question first. So if I offer you a ticket to the moon travel, maybe next week, please raise your hand. Let me know how many of you would like to step forward to participate in this trip. Wow, there's really a lot. There's much more than I expected, but I don't believe it because you know that I am assuming a kind of scenario. People making decisions on some knowledge. If we want to go to a moon travel, that of course we would like to know more information about the space exploration or about the moon itself. And the fact is that we don't know at this moment, we don't know so many about the space traveling yet, maybe a little, but if all the human decision is highly related on or relying on what we already know yet, the real question is how much we know about our world until now. Here I would like to start with a histo map, which is created from the middle of last century, and it maps the ebb and the flow of global power on a coherent timeline. And here it shows the initiation of the human civilization from very beginning to all the way back to 2000 before Christ until now. And even though that in these 4,000 years human activity and actually all the human beings are already explored only merely 5% of the whole knowledges. We called it known knowns, which that means that something we already affirm that we know. And there's some small parts surrounding it, we called it known unknowns. That means that there's something that we are aware that we don't know yet. We are exploring, we want to see more deep inside. And the majority part of this image, you can see it's all in black. It's totally covered by the black veil, and we call it unknown unknowns. That refers to there's a lot of things that we don't know, we are not even aware that we don't know yet. So back to our initial question. So the moon is something that in the most time of human history, we don't know so much about the moon. So that's why we have so many culture imaginations about the moon. We have Xianya, we have rabbit, we have Artemis, the goddess representing the moon in Western. But human tentative activities do change the status quo. By the 16th century, beginning of 16th century, people start to draw the moon by stylizing its face. And then we draw it by our naked eyes. And then step by step, with the progress of the technology, we can see the moon by Galileo's telescope, or by the observatory, or even by the lunar orbit, and now we are really landing on the moon. And thanks for the spacecraft, we can see the photos instantly from the moon. So stepping by stepping, that we are uncovering the black part of the moon. And as the human grow the taste on the science, so that gives us reason that we want to depict the moon's landscape. We as designer always act as a bystander or outsider of deep space exploration or moon exploration. For a long time, we thought this is, we took it for granted. This is something reserved for the scientists, such as physicists, chemists, or astronomers, or like aerospace experts and so on. Until one news overturned us, and people saying, China, CNSA, and NASA is planning and really do put in action that they want to put lunar space in the 2030s. Okay, that's completely delight us. People want to build an architecture or base, a space in the moon. Isn't that some work that for the architect or for the designer? Because undoubtedly, we are doing all kinds of comfortable or impressive space, of course, on Earth. But when the task transfers to the moon, we still feel that no one knows better than us how to design a pleasant space. But the reality is we just feel that we are literally don't equipped any knowledge about designing on the moon. It's like putting us in a black box when we started to embark this journey and without any light. Then we think about, okay, maybe we can use our familiar methods, the architecture methods to approach it. And then we defined everything completely changed. The people act differently in the moon, and because of the microgravity, of course. And then the environment differs concerning the temperature, the wind, the sun ray, and all unexpected hazards appears. So then we know that we need to go out of our comfort zone, our original discipline, and then break with so-called the boundary of design domain and ask for more helps. We know we need some kind of interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary or even hyper-disciplinary studies to fulfill this task. Okay, then so we invited experts, professionals, and professors, researchers come to our studio, come to our lab, and to provide us some information and their research results to tell us how to design an architecture, or maybe just to give us some notes, they already know to tell us how to depict a general picture about moon life there. Okay, but when we start to talk with them, they do provide a lot of constructive advice and information. But when we go step forward, because our strategy is to gather all the interdisciplinaries nodes and have a big picture about the moon environment, and we start to build something on the moon as we normally did on the Earth. But the problem is, when we talk with all these experts and with all these professors, they constantly and frequently mention the word theoretically or according to reasonable hypotheses. They are not quite sure about all these interpretations from the other disciplines into architecture. So when the original strategy, putting all the puzzle together to have the whole picture, seems done to work here, and finally we find out, okay, we become someone to organize all these researchers together, and we are striving for the light in the darkness together instead of asking only the help from them. So, in order to pave the correct way for the further research, we started to develop some proposals, the designs on the moon architecture domain. But instead of give a complete design, we started with each design with a specific approach or one dimension, so that we can build one architecture just responding one specific factors which appears on the moon. And this group, they are doing the research about the visual image of the Earth from the moon. And it shows how the moon and the sun moves and appears when you are on the moon. So that's important for us as architects, because when you design an architect on the moon, you need to meet the traveler's curiosity, right? They take the whole long way to the moon, and they want to see how the Earth appears, and also related to some factors as nostalgia. This group, they did this research after they produced the proposal to develop a kind of movable architecture on the moon, so that this architecture could move and chase their desired celestial views. And the second group, our students, they are investigating on the human behavior in microgravity situations. Of course, that on the moon, people jump higher, further, and they also move much slower. So that causes the whole space composition should change as well. Maybe the stair is not necessary, and the working position and the sleeping position is also accordingly changed. So they provide a design which is full of ramps, so people don't need to go around by stairs. Instead, they use the ramps. And this group, they are investigating psychological issues. They made an analogy design of an analogy study with the Antarctic Research Station, which is kind of a similar extreme environment, because in that environment, people may confront the problems such as social isolation and circadian rhythm disorders, and also cognitive function reductions, and so on. So in this proposal, they developed a kind of inner healing space, so people can feel relaxed and healing when they are on the moon for a long time. And also we have a lot of other workout related to the construction inquiries. People think about to construct the moon architecture by the prefabrication, also build something in the lunar tube, and also constructing some circulations concerning the biological life supporting systems, and so on. So what we have done yet is started to spread in the circle. More people have seen what we've done, and a lot of institutions want to participate us as well. Recently, we just unveiled the Space Research Lab, collaborating with China Aerospace Science and Industrial Corporation. That means people started to realize design works. We can empower the innovative technology and scientific findings in a better application. We are not just to do some final beautiful touch in the last step. So in order to give you kind of vivid information, I prepared a video, so maybe you can try to see our design trials from last semesters.
从1992年到现在经历了3个阶段，微反阶段、实验室阶段、实验阶段，3阶段预测现在正在深入的入院。这个表面就会产生一定的改造。
of what we have done through all the past only 1 year, and also a glimpse to our adventures to the unknown world. Moon for us is a mystery, and the world is made up a lot of mysterious for us, mysterious things for us. So I want to include here that we start, as you may see, that we start with a lot of paradox, a lot of doubts. Should we participate in moon design? Is this something related to our discipline? And then we move in, we realize that raising question itself is already a tremendous progress, because we are putting some unknowns into known unknowns. So we realize our limitations, and we still dive into this kind of black unknown world, and we learn how to hold with each other's hand and move forward. That is the real courage. Thank you.